and one of my creative partners, Gary, who lives in California. We're all texting back and forth, and my son and I were here watching WrestleMania. You guys into this? Have you ever? Are you into it again? Well, yeah, everyone watches it for different reasons, I'm sure. The three of us, we like the spectacle and the athleticism. My son was raised on it, so he likes the nostalgia. He's also a collector, and Gary's a filmmaker and a storyteller, so he gets into the storylines. I am into the graphics. In this case, the graphics were really great, so all of us were into it. And my son also runs a sign shop with me in town, so we were just checking out the signs. So I wanted to talk about the signs of the fans, the fan signage of WrestleMania. Because when I noticed the signs after I reviewed the video just a few minutes ago to see if there was any similarities or things that I could share with you as a small business owner or, a community organizer or a wrestling fan, how to get your sign seen. So there are definitely some things that stood out, and they would apply to anybody, whether you are opening a hot dog stand or, just have a giant building on the side of the road. Here they are. The first thing is location. Location totally matters. So the one thing that I noticed especially was how the flow of traffic came out and where the eyeballs are. And when I say the eyeballs, I'm talking about the cameras that are feeding those signs to millions of people, not just the people in the crowd. So I'm thinking electronic eyeballs. Excuse me. And in that, there's one particular place as the artists, the athletes, whatever, would come down the ramp, starting at the left of the screen, working their way to the right. As they got to the right, they would approach an open area where the big, wrestling ring is, a four-post boxing ring looking thing. Well, right there where that ramp connected to the open area around the ring was where there was kind of a corner, let's say, and fans were allowed right up to the wall. The fans reach over, try to get high fives and all from the athletes as they walk by. So that's a prime spot for a good sign. So near the corner, if you want people to see your sign, put it near the corner. If you have a business, obviously, you can't put it too close to the corner because they have rules. But if you're at wrestling, you want to be right there at the corner. And the next one should be pretty obvious, but size matters, especially with signage. You look around and I saw a bunch of people with little signs, but they had other problems aside from their size, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the one guy that I first noticed had a big sign, maybe 2 by 3 feet, and it said, I traveled 130,000 miles to be here, or something. I don't know exactly. I was thinking, how did you do that? How many times did you circle the globe? Maybe it said 13,000, probably. Anyway, easy to read. Right there, big. He knew where the camera was going to be, and he had a couple other things going in his favor that I'll get to in a moment. The second thing that was in his favor in this particular case was color. His sign was that fluorescent, ultra bright, high visibility yellow, like on safety vests and on some law enforcement cars and things like that, emergency vehicles. Very bright. That was a great start for him. So he had a big sign, high visibility yellow. Other people had white, mostly white. There was another person with the high visibility yellow sign, but it was much smaller. So in this case, obviously, again, the size beat it out, but it was also the guy with the bigger sign was much closer to the ramp. And here's the other catcher. The guy with the bigger sign took his time to make sure that the ink that formed the letters, all these were like hand-drawn, look like giant marker pens kind of signs, but he made his letters big, thick, and completely filled in. So there's a lot of contrast between the words and the background of his sign. And he only used, I think, just mostly black on the high visibility yellow. So high contrast, very big sign, near the front where the traffic comes by. And there you go. His message is pretty simple, too. I traveled 13,000 miles to be here. That's succinct, right? He wasn't trying to put a menu out there of all of his products or services or anything. He just, that was his message. It was audience safe. It didn't matter who saw it. It wasn't political. Maybe it was political. I don't know. Everything's political nowadays. But those were the takeaways from that guy's sign in particular. There were other folks I saw back in the crowd too, and again, it came to positioning. So when they would do the wide shot of the ring, there were people right back there who had signs that were perfectly positioned. In that case, differentiation became an issue because in the crowd, there were a lot of audience members wearing a variety of different colors, logo T-shirts and all that, and your sign had to stand out no matter if you held it just a little bit high or all the way high. The background behind your sign was a cacophony of people and colors. So in that case, simple color again, big block letters, big bold statement, like UGG, jorts. I saw that one when John Cena was wrestling. Again, just big, simple message, easy to read letters, high contrast, make it stand out from the background. So that was the kind of the cool things I saw about signage at WrestleMania. I should say that's the cool thing I saw about fan signage at WrestleMania. Do you look at signs in the crowd? This is one of my favorite things to do when I'm watching any kind of sport that you can see the signs, mostly wrestling, of course. Also, a little bit pre-fight on UFC, not too much there, but behind the kicking goalposts at football games. There's a lot of it there. Tell me what you see in the audience. What's your funniest sign you've seen? The UGG jorts one? That was pretty funny.